Hello and welcome to the Right Click Save podcast. I'm your host Calcio, joined for the first time ever, doxed in person, with my fellow co-host Jimmy T. Jimmy, how are you doing today, my good sir?
Good. Finally get to get our beautiful faces on camera.
Debatable. I wouldn't quite go with beautiful for you, but for myself, I'd say dashing, handsome and beautiful as always. On today's episode, we thought we would dive in with a really conventional way of looking at quality products. Okay, so we're going to do a really standard tier list. No, some of them are shit. We're going to do a tier list which essentially allows us the opportunity to go through the most prominent products and projects in 2022 and let you know what we think about them.
Yeah, can't wait to get stuck in. The market's popping off a little bit at the moment, so it'd be good to review some of the projects from 2022 that you could literally release anything and it would bang. So let's see how they're doing and what we think what's going on with them for 2023.
Just before we do jump in, we'd like to hand over for a quick word from our sponsor, Monuverse, who make this fantastic podcast, if I do say so myself, possible. Monuverse is an art-based project that uses the power of NFTs to hone in on culture and bring it to the forefront. Their aim is to connect communities from across the globe via the most iconic monuments and champion artists and the legacy they create. Monuverse gives holders a unique experience in which they can travel back in time to see what man's greatest creations looked like upon conception via an immersive and educational experience that displays history, art and culture with guided tours via their AI-powered guides. The first drop successfully launched on the 11th of November and featured the stunning Archer piece in Milan, Italy. Following episodes will continue to expand the Monuverse and allow holders access to in-real-life events and further growing out the understanding of the incredible world we live in. Links to find out more will be provided in the description below.
The categories for our tier list that we have is top of the categories is Bluechips. I think it's self-explanatory what a blue chip project is. The next one down is WAGMI. These are projects that are up and coming, look like they're going to be doing really well in 2023. Our next category is stable. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It's just a project that might not go through exceptional growth, but it shouldn't go down too much. Phoenix, which is going to be something that's rising from the ashes, so a project that's gone through some hefty turbulence, let's say, but it looks like it's got some promising aspects in the horizon. We've got not going to make it. And our final lowly category, the hidden folder.
I'll be honest with you, we did have a little debate about whether to include the hidden folder, but I feel like it has to be, or else we wouldn't really be representing the year very well, because let's be honest, there were some absolute stinkers. I think we should probably start at the top here, Jim. So we've put CryptoPunks as the first on our list. Where do you feel like that?
Biggest on all-time volume, really, isn't it? CryptoPunks of all time. Well, you can't really fade CryptoPunks, can you? I mean, they are one of the strongest brands in the space. Obviously, they got bought out by Yuga Labs, the biggest company in the space. They're one of the most well-known projects. For me, it's got to sit in the blue chip category.
Yeah, I feel like that was probably one we can just tick off, really. We don't really need to talk about it too much. And I think actually the same with Bored Apes as well. They kind of just speak for themselves, right? Like, realistically, they are probably the most recognisable profile picture in the world from an NFT project.
Do you think more people know punks than apes?
No. Apes, clear,
Apes,
100%.
Yeah.
You got to think about how...
Celebrity endorsement.
Yeah. How the celebrities... I know celebrities did buy punks, but they just weren't seen as glamorous, I guess, as buying an ape and having that as your profile picture. Like, you think about Steph Curry and people like that, having that ape as their profile picture.
Would you still want an ape?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I think that... I think now, though, when you make those decisions, it's all about... you think a bit more about what you're doing. Think back to when I was trying to buy an ape. It wasn't far off this time last year when I really was trying before the bank cucked me. I really was going to buy one because I just thought, fuck it. Let's change my online identity. I'd only had my Doodle a little bit of time, really. Let's change it. Let's get the biggest and the best. Now, having been, had my Doodle for a year pretty much, I wouldn't bother buying it because the reason I'd want it was to make it the profile picture, the animation, everything like that, and I wouldn't want to change what I've already built. And I think there's realistically not the same hype around NFTs, obviously we already know this, as there was this time last year, and so aping into a crazy purchase of $100,000 for most people now is probably not as easy a decision. Again, you've chatted about it loads. The bottom line is profits just aren't as in, right?
What about mutants, though? Let's talk about mutants.
I think they've got to go in WAGMI. If we're going to put them as their own category, because I feel like technically they could be really a blue chip, because if we look at projects and products and whatever else,
I don't think so. I think the thing with mutants is like they always bang when they've got some form of utility or where someone's going to get something from them, and Yuga have been really good at supplying that. But at the same time, the hype on them goes up and down all the time, so it's not so much as a steadfast investment as an ape. An ape is definitely, in my opinion, over the long term, going to make you a bit of money or hold its value.
Yeah,
whereas a mutant is just so much more volatile. So I think you're right though. I don't think stable's the right place for it. It's got to be WAGMI.
I think WAGMI is, I think WAGMI, just because actually the other thing is, like you said, and I know there's like this Stealth Yuga project coming out, if in a year's time the mutant floor's sitting at 10 ETH and we get news that there's going to be some sort of utility based airdrop token, basically we're making money off the mutant, they're going to go up double 20, 30 ETH, right? So I think they got us in that WAGMI category because they have got the opportunity to really make. So if I bought it 5 at 10 ETH, and so I think you have to put it in the WAGMI category.
Let's slide it into WAGMI. Now this one's an interesting one because it's had some turbulence. What about the other deeds for other side?
It's tough. I think realistically you can't obviously put it in not going to make it because it's a Yuga asset, and I think that it is going to be supported by the fact it's a Yuga asset. The only argument, I guess, of putting it in not going to make it would be that the Metaverse fails, and as a consequence, as a broader thing, there's no place for the other side deeds in anywhere.
I can't see any situation where their Metaverse is going to fail. The tech test that we did with those 1,000 people just looked insane, and it actually looked like they're making something that's fun and gamified, and that people are just going to absolutely love it because everyone's always loving on Bored Apes all the time. I think, though, you can't ignore the fact that they've been through so much FUD on other deeds, though. And I would have to say that for me, it's got to be a Phoenix, because I feel at the moment it's probably the best investment you could buy in the whole Bored Ape kind of a Yuga ecosystem. Because why is it sat down at 1.2 ETH? Like, that's just over mint price. What other any of them are sat just over mint price? Surely that is a good investment at the moment, not financial advice. Yeah,
I think the kind of counter argument for me at least is I don't really have one actually when I think about it. I didn't realise how low the price was based on the mint price.
It's crazy.
I guess as well, they didn't ever really reach. Obviously, the coder based ones did. They went right up, but for just a standard deed, I don't think they really went above about 3.
Yeah, so. I think 3 or 4 they got to. Yeah, but which again, like, it's down 25%. Like, it's 25% of that at the moment. I really think if I had 10 ETH right now to spend, I wanted to invest. It had to be on Yuga. Would I buy a Mutant Ape or I'm not sure what the floor on those is, or a Kennel Club? I know I'd probably buy like 5, 6 other deeds.
So I guess fair enough. We put it in Phoenix. I think that's our first Phoenix as well. It's a tough one.
I think people will moan that we put that in Phoenix because it's quite low down on our list. But I feel like after the FUD, it's going to come up from. I think it's more of a positive thing we're saying about other deeds is that they're going to have a really good run at some point.
Azuki. Now we've had some. Strong guest opinions from people like Shill and Villain on Azuki. If we asked him this question, it'd be he wouldn't even want to put it in hidden folder. He'd just burn it, I think. Thoughts?
Again, I'd probably stick it in Phoenix because they've gone through such a huge amount of FUD, but still maintained. Their floor hasn't completely died. They've still got an active community. The artwork's still pretty cool. They're still building things. I think they're going to have a good year compared to where they've been.
It's tough because ultimately when you have the level of FUD that they had for the reason that they had the FUD, like ultimately I was going to go and not going to make it, just because I think if we look at it from a longevity point of view, it's a huge black cloud over your head. Like, it's not a small thing. It doesn't matter about, like, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, so the floor price is one thing, cool, that's fine. The core community, cool, it's fine. But if we talk about like long term, like is what we're saying, we're saying in 10 years time would, like you were saying earlier, is Bored Ape still going to be massive? You would imagine so. Punk's the same. I feel like long-term Azuki doesn't make it unless they make radical changes. But that's just me.
I like this. We've got a bit of conflict here because I think they just appeal really strongly to a different demographic than the kind of like Bored Ape kind of like, they're more of the Asian market as well, and I think they're less concerned with the FUD that came out. And that was mostly on Twitter. And obviously the guy's a serial rugger, but it's like, I still feel that enough people have stayed with the project, regardless of that, for it to sort of push on. And they're even getting good kind of exposure from quite a lot of influencers at the moment and things like that.
Okay,
so
well, let's put it in Phoenix because I do think that realistically there's a chance of redemption. So we'll put it in there.
Maybe once we've gone through the rest of the list, we'll come back to it and say, all right, does that fit with the other things we put in there?
Sure. We got Clone X next. To be honest, it's a project I just, because of the art style, didn't really get involved with. I don't like the art. It's not my cup of tea. It's a bit too weeby, bit anime. I don't really like it. But from anime, yeah, not my cup of tea. I'm a big man. I'm into Star Wars animation instead.
Yeah.
But no. So for me, probably Stable. They have got huge influence from Nike, which is mad. They've done loads of cool stuff with collabs and trainers and everything like that. It's a huge ecosystem. Realistically, it all depends, in my opinion, on how much Nike have time, effort, and want to play around with NFTs in the future. My guess is that they do. My guess is that Stable is the right place for them. However, I could see an argument for we're going to make it just because of the reasons I said before. Huge backing, huge community, held up really well throughout the shit show that was the back end of last year. So
yeah, I was never a huge fan of massive brands in the kind of like Web3 market as we had it, especially at the time. So it never appealed to me. Go, oh my god, Nike are involved in this project, I've got to buy it. It was never a big thing to me, but it does appeal to, again, a different demographic, to the nascent kind of like degen NFT trader. So I feel that they'll probably just Stable's probably right, because I think there's always going to be a market for that product.
And again, just a preface for anyone who's having an emotional breakdown at something they disagree with, I'm sure it won't be that extreme, but we're just kind of going off of what we think, obviously, here. And that's why I think Moonbirds, for me, is a really interesting one as well. Missed the boat on Moonbirds, but I've spoken to a lot of holders consistently. Obviously, Ryan Carson is no longer with Moonbirds, but he's coming on the podcast very soon, which is exciting. And so I missed that episode because I'm away for the football. But Jimmy T is going to be holding up the fort. And I think it'd be a fantastic conversation. And I'm sure you'll be able to kind of talk a bit more about the early days of Moonbirds that he was involved with him.
We better not put this too far down the list then, I guess, because will he take it
he's not
personally?
there anymore. Nah, because he obviously dipped with a shitload of cash, so it'll be fine.
He's fine. He's fine.
I think it's got to go and we're going to make it because... It's tough though, because they got a lot of FUD. They got a lot of grief for the bum bags and the socks.
Everyone loves a fanny pack.
You look good in one, but they did get a lot of grief for that. So then I guess my counter argument is, which project hasn't had a load of shit for a load of stuff?
I wasn't a big fan of the way they did their CCO stuff, and they got a lot of FUD for that. And it's just, it feels like there's this also sort of terms and conditions rugging that you can do to your community, where it's like people buy into your project and you go, oh, by the way, our project's changed to this, without any notice.
Yeah, the CCO thing was pretty fucked because obviously, well, I don't even need to explain why it's fucked. It just is. Like you say, imagine if Doodles did that and I had my Doodle, we've got the animation.
I'd be really annoyed.
And then they go, great news, everyone! CCO'd the Doodles collection.
Or we could have just been Doodles anyway. In fact, we could. Do you know what? Our next animated show should we just be Moonbirds?
Yeah, but can we pick the best Moonbirds, not shit ones? Like
we'll do it for the Ryan Carson episode. We'll be Moonbirds, and we'll pick like the top Moonbirds, and we'll be them.
Yeah, even though he doesn't have to do Moonbirds anymore, but that's
fine.
But
still, he's got a history with it.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, okay, I think Stable, just because, as I said, the CCO thing for me at least just super puts me off because of the content we make.
Yes.
And the fear. That's the worst thing that could happen to us for Doodles, right? If Doodles CCO'd, we'd be sad Sammies.
I would be sad. I think Burnt Toast would be sad as well.
Yeah, I think everyone would be sad. It would ruin the Doodle Bank as well.
But I think that kind of shows the difference to the two projects, because you don't have that key kind of like really famous artist with the brand IP.
That's true.
In the same way, it's not the same kind of project. So I understand why they did it. CCO is not something I'm a huge fan of. I don't think it's right for every project, and I think that trend of everyone going CCO at the time was just a bit weird.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But Stable, I'm saying Stable as well.
I guess Stable. We got Sandbox next, which I think is Me. It's a Stable. It's kind of got to go in either of the two. The reason I was kind of swayed to we're going to make it is for the very simple reason that Minecraft, right, was a game that everyone thought was going to fail, that would be replaced, would be bettered. It would just surely there's going to be something better than Minecraft. Look at Minecraft now.
Yeah.
It's fucking enormous. Sandbox just did that first. You know, even with OpenSea as another example, eBay, PayPal, you know, this could go on Amazon. When you do something first and you build such a big scale amount of people who are engaged in your product,
Google.
tough to topple it for sure.
Yeah, and also I think the thing that for me was why I put it in, you know, top 2 tiers probably in Bluechips, to be honest, is the fact that I love this. So everyone else is losing their investment, going bankrupt in this economy that we've got. Animoca, they're laying off loads of staff. Animoca, the thing they did is like, we're really sorry guys, but we're going to have to pull back, and our funds that we had for I can't remember exactly what the fund was for. It's like developing things on the Metaverse. We're going to community-led stuff. We're going to cut it from $2 billion to $1 billion. It's like, okay, that's still a hell of a lot.
Tragic.
Of money. Yeah. So I think they're doing all right. I think they're doing all right.
Like, I guess as well, ultimately, as I said, they just got there first. Like they got there first, right? And then again, do you remember the time where every single project, and I mean every single project's roadmap had, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna buy land in Sandbox. It was every single project, like kind of August, September of 21. Every single project had that in their roadmap, and I think that ultimately that's just cements them. I was going to say WAGMI, but I could see an argument for Bluechips sheerly based on how much funding
I think
they
if you put it in its own category as well as a sort of Metaverse project, there's no one bigger. They are the Bluechip Metaverse. Yeah, and they own everyone. They've bought everyone.
It's true. Then bought or sponsored the Right Click Say podcast, the biggest and only animated podcast in Web3.
And also doxed.
Yeah, we do a bit of everything. Sandbox, if you need some help.
Okay, Doodles. So for me, this is this is my favourite project out there. I love Doodles. I love the artwork. I'm a holder. I love having it in my digital identity. Therefore, for me, I've got to put it up with Bluechips. And I also think they do the best in real life events just because of the way it's stylized and is like a proper like portal into the actual Doodle world.
I would put it in We're Gonna Make It. And I think that the only reason really for me is that we haven't seen Doodles 2 or Duplicates work yet. Yeah. So I don't know I think if that goes smoothly, then for me, then that's Bluechip. I think that even if, and again, the thing that gets thrown at Bored Apes all the time is that their big things have been just to give their holders hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's why everyone loves them, but they've made people
however,
money.
As a utility compared to a lot of NFT utilities, I take that, and I'm not saying that I'm expecting Doodles 2 to make me $100,000. Not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that is like an enigma to get to that blue chip, like real huge. For me, We're Gonna Make It because I'm obviously very confident in the brand. I've been a holder for over a year. That is my digital identity. I really like Doodles.
So we can like kind of compromise here and say we're on the cusp, and we're gonna. What I'll do is we'll put it in between. It's a counter on both sides. Something that I don't like doing in roulette, but
if we revisit this in 6 months when Doodles 2 has come out, Doodles 2 slap, which I assume it will, happy days for me, done. But just because I really think we have to see that bang, and then I'm like, cool.
All right, cool. Decentraland.
I don't know a huge amount about what they're doing right now. I'm going to be candid. Probably stable because
I want to put them in Not Gonna Make It.
You think so? Talk to me about
I hate it. I hate the style of it. I think it looks awful. All the FUD that comes out about Metaverse is always after a Decentraland bloody event because it just looks, in my opinion, sorry if you're a holder, sorry if you're a developer or you love the project, but in my opinion it looks shit. And I think that no one has ever had a good experience in it. And I think they always are getting slammed for having no users.
At least you're honest, which is fair play. As I said, I'm not hugely up to date on their.
To be honest, neither am I. But I just hate the style.
Well, okay, we'll stick it. Not Gonna Make It. That's fine. I back it. Next up, we've got Meebits, obviously acquired by Yuga.
I think that's the only thing it's got going for it. I mean, again, I'm not like fully versed with what Meebits are doing, if anything, or what Yuga have got planned for them. But like, I think the only thing that's going to hold them above, I don't think they're a Phoenix because I don't think they're going to do anything that's going to blow anyone's socks off. I don't think they're going to fade to nothing because of their connection with Yuga, but I think stable's probably a good place for them. I don't think they're.
I was going to say stable because I think that if I looked at it, I don't like the artwork. It's not my cup of tea. So. But if I look at it the same way I'm looking at everything else, in 20 years, if NFTs are still a thing, which I assume they will be, then, and Yuga grows to still continue to be the biggest player in NFTs from a whatever point of view, then in theory, Meebits should be valuable based on everything that anyone knows about the collectibles markets in general. But again, you do get duds. I'd say stable.
It's the worst project in their portfolio.
Yeah, but again, they just bought it because it came part and parcel, I assume, with
I know,
Punks.
it was the bloody Happy Meal toy, wasn't it? When they got their
literally the best way to put it. It was just like, all right, cool. Do you want a colouring book?
Meebits.
Fine, we'll have it. Yeah, I agree with that. That makes a lot of sense. What have we got next?
To be fair, like if what's the company that did Punks? Lava Labs. So if Lava Labs had said to them, like, you know, if Yuga had said to Lava Labs, "Oh, we want Punks, but we don't want Meebits," and Lava Labs had come out and say that they weren't good custodians of a project, they basically said, "We're not good custodians of an NFT project," that project would have died. I think that's probably one of the main reasons they took them. I think Lava Labs would have said to them, "You can have Punks, but you've got to take Meebits at the same time."
Yeah, it probably wasn't far off. I think stable's fair. Next up, we've got Kennel Club. Again, I think based on it just being part of the Yuga Labs ecosystem, I think stable's probably the right place for it. I know they do fluctuate when there's good or bad news. As far as I'm aware, they don't have the same perks as mutants do when it comes to claiming things in the past and just being a part of the environment ecosystem. So stable's probably where I'd put it for the same reasons Meebits, at least.
I think we can move on because I agree with everything now.
Cool Cats.
It's good to have the dogs and the cats next to each other. For me, Cool Cats has to be a phoenix. I've never understood why they get so much FUD and why their full price hasn't just stayed up there and been banging. The art's good. You've got a well-known artist. They do some cool stuff. They throw in real-life events that are kick-ass. They've got a fairly active community. I know they did a shit game. That was it, wasn't it? Yeah. The pets flopped. But I think they've got a shit ton of money and they're going to continue to innovate with it and iterate, and I think they'll get it right.
I think with pets, and I remember when it happened, and it was still when we were in the entitled NFT user phase as well. So people had gotten on it was still when we had like an alpha list, whitelist, whatever it was. Yeah. And so they were minting for an ETH, and I think people were selling for 3 ETH straight off the bat, which is obviously really good money now if you can do that with a mint. But then it was kind of people were complacent, expecting more. There were loads of problems with the mint. It got delayed for months as well. Yeah. That for me is just, especially at the time when people were looking for smooth operators, just really caused them a lot of problems. A lot of people say that the best NFT NYC event was the Cool Cats event, which we didn't go to for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And people always speak really highly of Klon and the team. Yeah. So I think Phoenix is cool.
Yeah, I think Phoenix, nice. You agreed with me. I like this.
I did. ENS domains we've put on here because they are quite
I think just because of the volume and how much it was banging. It's a tricky one, ENS, because I think it is important, but I think the hype's been there already, like with all the digit numbers selling, like for crazy amounts.
3-digit runs and 4 digits and 5 digits even had a run. Like
Can you make money off ENS now? Is it going to, when we get a big influx of people in there, is that going to be?
I don't know, because there was that time where like Budweiser bought beer.eth for 30 ETH, and people were having ENS domains like offers of hundreds of thousands on the right ones, and Nike bought theirs, and loads of stuff happened. But I would say it's very much tied to the overall NFT market, right? Just in the sense that ultimately,
whack me then, right?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I say stable because there's so much variation to it. Because ultimately, if I go and claim the name Calcio and Jimmy cuddling in the dark .eth, sorry, they're likely I'm not going to make money off it. But if I
unless you put 100 ETH bid on your own,
if I have Adidas.eth, then I'm going to make some money off it. But do you get my point? Like, so there's a good link back to the other episode. But so realistically, I think they've got to go in stable because there's just too many variables.
They're at least stable, aren't they? I think again they've got an edge on WAGMI.
And the other thing is, when we come back to, say for example, and we already know the NFT market's not going to be as big as it was, that crazy kind of however many months it was, but let's say in 5 years time we get real good volume back and people are loving it and we've got fresh waves of people and there's just new people making great projects. ENS domains will naturally go with that curve. They're gonna follow suit. So I put them in stable.
Goblin Town. So I want to hear your thoughts on this first.
I'm going to go and not going to make it just because I don't think they wanted to make it. I think they just wanted to make money and they were really good at doing that. They caught the hype really well. They captivated the free mint market and they literally started a wave of 3 months of people launching free mints.
Which is still going.
Yeah, so they were kind of the catalyst to that, and they did a really good job of it. And what they did really well was caveated by saying, we don't fucking have a plan. This plan is just
and
there.
now everyone says that. It's just the easiest thing to say. No one's a rug these days because they come out and say they don't have a plan. So then when they don't do anything, it's like, well, that's what we said. But I agree. I think not going to make it because as much as I thought it was funny at the time, their value so based on it going viral and being current, and I just don't think they're ever going to be able to iterate or be creative enough to come up with something that's going to continue that run. But they don't need to be, because
I think for them, obviously, they would have made God knows how many millions off of the project, and they did really well. They caught the hype. They did little bits and bobs.
No amount of burgers is going to get that value back. They're 0.75 ETH. They'll go up, I think, a bit, but they're never going to.
That's still brilliant from a free mint point of view, though. When you really think about it,
definitely, yeah.
Even if you'd been mental enough to still hold from the free mint to now, you're still at 0.75 ETH for nothing, right? So overall, I think only not going to make it because they don't want to. Yeah, that's where I'd go. Pixelmon.
Yes. Oh, definite blue chip.
I think you might be right, Jimmy. No. So I think hidden folder. So first entry to the hidden folder.
Yeah.
I just think.
I mean, there are going to be loads of people out there arguing for Phoenix here because they're apparently spending their money on developing the actual game. But just no, Pixelmon, get back in the hidden folder and shut up.
I think it's just such a long time that they didn't do anything well. I don't.
Anyone who can put that art out does not deserve to do anything else.
Well, we said on previous episode, like if you made $70 million, you'd probably just go, could we spend like not even one of that?
They should have to use that 70 million, not for developing a shit game that no one's going to play after they've destroyed their reputation, but they should have to sweep the floor of all as many projects as they can to put that money back into the space.
That'd be good. But like I said to you, I just think wankers. So they're going to go in that stinking, horrible hole. Squiggles. We put Squiggles on this list now. We were going to put it in the hidden folder just because it was a memoir of how ridiculous the NFT market felt back in kind of March of last year, where everyone was just like, fuck it. Bearing in mind they tried to mint these at 1 ETH.
I'm really annoyed with this one because this was one that was like, it was going to be like, it was going to bang, and like everyone's like, this was absolutely going to fly, and then the FUD came out and it was like, yeah, finally I've got, oh no, okay, shit, right.
I remember so many people who had had like a bit of a struggle in the kind of month or two before with not making money and
fix everything.
That was like this is going to make me 5 ETH and I'm going to be flying and obviously they copied loads of Doodles traits if I'm not wrong, and just all of it was a mess.
Just a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah,
straight in the hidden folder.
Pape's another funny one because again they came out so in December of 2021, early December. There was
some good little advert trailers, teasers, good quality stuff. Looked good.
And there was Discord server was launching, and it was all quite mysterious. And they were grungy British projects. Ooh.
Cool artwork. It looked really super clean. This is where I think they went really wrong. Is all of their build up was like super clean, like really tight.
I don't know why they didn't just.
And then their artwork was. And then the actual
like
mint
ears coming through
awful.
Hats and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like Pixelmon level awful, but it was. Wasn't good enough.
Why didn't they just do it well? They minted out well over an ETH, and their floor went up to 9-10 ETH.
I think it was a technical challenge in doing it. To be honest, I think that to do those high quality renders and renders out like a 10,000 collection as well as that is, I think that was one of their key problems.
Well, I mean, there were other projects also. Rugs, not the point. Like Primate Planet.
Yeah, Primate.
I made like 5-6 ETH on that, which was good.
Yeah, we quickly sold those.
But they looked okay, I guess.
Yeah,
better than Hape. But yeah, so Hape for me is a hidden folder.
Mine looks shit.
Mechaverse
again. This was like peak hype, and that is why it ran up for me. It just all of them looked exactly the same. Like exactly the same.
Well, that was the funny things when compared like the second rarest one to like the 10,000, 9,000 rare.
It just looked exactly the same, and it was just boring. Yeah. It was just like,
great.
Just I don't even want to talk about it. It was just like they were a symptom of a well inflated bubble market. Right, to finish on, Calcio, we're going to go for one that you were absolutely disgusted with yourself for selling too early and missing out on generational wealth, which is NFT Worlds.
So the TDLR, for anyone who doesn't know, is my cousin put me onto a free mint of NFT Worlds. I paid no more than 0.2 for 10. So I picked up 10 for between like 0.16 and 0.2 ETH. And I sold them all for 0.5 ETH because I thought, oh, okay, that's fine. That's 5 ETH from like...
Still decent money. Like, you made good money. That was ETH was like, what, 2-3 grand then as well?
Fast forward to being in February of 2022, we were in ETH Denver. They hit a 19 or 17 ETH floor.
And what was the token that you were generating worth?
World's token, which made my cousin tens of thousands off of 2.
But let's fast forward again.
Yeah, which part 2?
To the bit where Minecraft changed their terms of services so that people can't run NFT projects off them.
So as a consequence, I reckon their floor is now sub 1 ETH by a way.
I don't even know. Let's have a quick goosey gander.
It can't be healthy.
It can't be good. Like, it's got to be like sub 1 ETH in my opinion. Yeah, 0.84.
Still, again, from a free mint,
for
really,
American
really good.
fans, 0.84.
But yeah, for me, not going to make it just because
they're building their own Minecraft. As soon as they said that, they fell into.
It's not going to work, is it?
No.
It's not going to work because it's the same as what we said about how effective Sandbox is and will always be because it got there first and won. You can't beat Minecraft. Don't give a fuck what you do. You just can't beat. It's like saying, if I turn around to you and said, "Look, Jimmy, I think we need to make a battle royale game."
We're gonna make. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like with Warzone in as well, you just might as well just go.
I'm just going to go and play them, and that actually is the key problem for most NFT games is that exact same thing. So yeah, NFT Worlds probably not going to make it, unfortunately. How's your cousin now? Did he sell any?
He had a sad problem with crypto where he lost about 60 grand.
No.
They'd built up from about 2000. So I don't really talk to him about crypto anymore. And
hopefully he doesn't watch the show. So yeah, that is our review of the of those prominent NFT projects in 2022. I wonder what we're going to have on our tier list in 2020 for our cover up of 2023. What kind of projects do you think are going to bang? Are we PFPs? Are we games? Are we Metaverses?
I think it's going to be things with a little bit more nuance to them than just here is a cute animal that really you're buying because it's a shitcoin with a face basically that you're going to run up in the hype. So I'd imagine the other thing we'll probably see there, and I know all of those projects didn't launch in 2022, but they were whatever
prominent in
I'd imagine that this list is going to be a lot smaller for 2023 just because I can't see where we're I know it's only 2-3 weeks into January, but and the market is picking up. I just can't see.
I think we're going to see a lot different NFT market this time. We're getting a lot of free mints with gamification. One thing we didn't really have on our list here was art, and that's because it just wasn't big in the volume charts on OpenSea, and that's where we looked at a lot of the data from. But I think art is going to be bigger, but like gamified art, so where you're burning tokens to work your way up to
just
more art and things like that. To go back
to what ultimately all games and app developers want and content creators want, you to be engaged in the content, and I think that's where NFTs in the profile picture form are just really falling short. I'm just not really interested in 99.99999% of what NFT projects are doing. Don't care. So, and what I mean by that is obviously I'm just not engaged in it. Whereas that form of meta is encouraging people to be engaged in their product.
Especially the meta at the moment seems to be like more of an interesting mint process now. Like it's not just go and press mint. There's like some other feature for it. You have to mint 10 and then that allows you to burn some to get this and do that. And like, I think that's a bit more fun for a lot of the people that are still engaged in the space who need something to consume and do at the moment while everything's moving a little bit slower. But in terms of mass adoption, that's not going to come from this kind of weird kind of mint process. It's going to come from integration of NFTs into existing products, not Web3 native projects trying to break the mass market. It's going to be the other way around. Yeah,
I'm in full agreement, and I hope that everyone's enjoyed this episode. If you have, please make sure to like this episode, and make sure, of course, to subscribe to the Right Click Say podcast. I'm your host, Calcio, joined as always by Jimmy T. See you again soon.
See you soon.